people say, why are you doing it? Thank God the woman deserves it. You know, she deserves this to be. She thinks the HSE is paying for the care. Just we never told her we're paying it. But you know, even before that, we gave her the deed of covenant, but that's only 127 a month, and she's still getting that from each of us. But we used to give her a lump sum at Christmas of, you know, quite a bit. Well, I was giving her 500 because she wasn't doing my books, but the others were giving her more because she was doing their books to keep her occupied, and she liked doing a kind of therapy type of thing. Then she got beyond that, and we've stopped that now because we're doing this other thing. We're giving the money. But really, when you think of what she did, she worried about him. Would he be alive, and would he kill somebody on the road, and was he all right? And then she'd ring Gertie and frighten the daylights out of Gertie, say, he isn't home yet, what's happened to him and all that. But anyway, we got through all that, and she did all that, and let him sleep in the house, and put on the electric blanket and everything, and all that. You know.
Then how did she get Creemore?
Then Stony Batter, the lady who was in Stony Batter, no, they decided that she needed to get out of there, and they bought Creemore. Raymond bought Creemore in the end. Raymond bought it, and then there was always fight. The Creemore was bought. Then Raymond was having rows with her, and I wanted to buy it at one stage. Someone of us had to buy it from Raymond, and I said to Daddy, we should buy it, it's a good buy. Oh no, he wouldn't buy it, and then Gertie bought it. She probably had the most cash flow at the time, and she bought it, and it went on to be worth over $1 million at one stage, because they couldn't sell it then because she was still alive. But she lived there, and this other lady, it's a long story, I won't go down that road, another lady, but she died, was there with her for company. Well, it wasn't just for company, she was there, and she died, so then she was on her own then, and that kind of thing. But she had some friends in Dublin and that, and she'd go and see them.
And she'd go see her family.
And she didn't need she went down an awful lot to Wexford.
Like her family.
She used to drive down in the car to Wexford, and I think drove them all that down there as well. But she went down, to the weddings, and, you know, quite a lot of weekends. So she had that to look forward to, and that. But she was she'd always pull her weight with it. But she was very critical, of course, and very sarcastic and that. But she was...
was she worried when your father died?
Well, yeah.
Like,
she would have
like
been,
that
of
was,
course. She would have been and all that. But she was very young still at the time, you know, and she was quite young because she came to us when she was only 16 or 17. Oh, she was a great, oh, you should see the books she kept. There wouldn't be a thing on them, you know, not a thing out of place. And she drove Gertie mad. If she hadn't every receipt, you know, Gertie would be like me. Most of them are there. Oh no, they have to be all there. She'd have to go home.
What did she make of Auntie May? What did she make of Auntie May?
Oh, she didn't get on with Auntie May at all. Auntie May was sent in to give her a hand. Oh,
that didn't go well.
Woman. Oh yeah, I know.
Wasn't she in the Spanish Brigades?
Oh no, she was in the army.
Yeah, but in Spain, didn't she go down there to fight?
No, she went down to Spain for sojourn and met people down there. We had all that.
So she wasn't involved in the Civil War at all down there?
No.
What? No. So what was she in?
She was in the army somewhere during the war, World War II.
Oh, as an ambulance driver?
Yeah, as an ambulance driver, yeah. She joined the army and that, and she made friends out there. But she never married, and that. But she was very critical of my father, who'd done so much for her.
And she lived in the house?
She came for 3 weeks and stayed for myriad years. Daddy thought she'd be a good influence on us. Nearly drove us cracked.
Yeah.
Oh no, she wasn't the one to come to be a good influence. Auntie Claire would have been.
Yeah.
Because Auntie Claire was a bit of crap, but she was married with her own problems. But Auntie May was no. Auntie May was a very difficult fish, a very difficult one. She criticised.
I remember with those pants, those long straight pants, very severe.
And Daddy could give as good as he got to. She'd be coming into dinner on a Sunday or in the evening, and we'd be having it on the big table in the dining room. And I think this was a Sunday. We ate there on an ordinary day. That was mainly on Sunday. And she'd come up from painting her flat. She was always painting the walls. She did all her own painting for economical reasons as well as everything else. And it kept us out of our hair. She took a job at one time, vaguely as a job. But anyway, she did the ironing all right, and she'd arranged the flowers. But then she'd come in the painting jacket, an army jacket, splattered with paint. And Daddy said to her one day, do we really have to have our dinner? Look, his daddy was very fussy about clothes, and like everybody else, he was very fussy about his own, and he couldn't stand women that weren't tidy and neat about their appearance. He said, you should always dress as well as you can, and be neat and all that. He liked that.
This wasn't a commune that we were in.
What?
This wasn't a commune that he was running.
Yeah, and he told her one day, and she wasn't too pleased about that. And then he pronounced words sometimes wrong, and she would take them up.
Correct him. Oh.
She thought she stayed on in Eccles Street. She got the education. And Gertie, Gertie was always going out dancing, you know. There was big dances up in the zoo, you know, dressed dinner dances. And Gertie was very popular, and she was always being asked to these. And she'd come in the next day, and Gertie beaten away, you know, Gertie. And had a great dance at the zoo last night. And Auntie May would say, how many times have I told you, Gertie, in front of Daddy, and Daddy would go mad. It's not the zoo. She'd just say, great dance at the zoo last night. Oh, the dancing was mad.
At the zoo.
Murderous. And she'd say, how many times have I told you? It's not the zoo. It's the zoo. You know, and then Daddy would mispronounce words, and she'd go at him as if we didn't have had enough trouble with my mother without her coming on board.
I like a man Pryor correcting Simon. Like, he has some nerve to be correcting him.
Oh, yeah. The same as Angela McGurk.
Yeah.
It's not a Van Gogh. It's a Van Gogh.
Yeah. And
take your glasses off. I nearly hit her. What a woman. Yeah, she just like, you know, these people who think because she went to Mount Sackville, she can tell me what to do. Do you know that it's very bad manners to wear your dark glasses? I said it may be, and I do know that, but I'm going to wear them for as long as I like. And I wear them on the plane too, because they relax my eyes. And I'm all nervous on the plane, and it hides my nerve in it. And I wear them, and that's it. And I don't criticize you wearing blouses that are way too tight. Even Ronnie said she always wants to look thin. Yeah. So the crack is with some people, they buy the blouse a size too small, and that makes them look thin. But it doesn't. It looks the blouse looks cheap, and the buttons pop, and all that. Ronnie even said to somebody one night, I think it was her, he went and popped the button because he said it's too small. But no, but there she was, and I mean, she kept us all together. Yeah. And every night at 6 o'clock, you made a good move there by saying the mystery of the rosary, because you'll be the white-haired bird forever. Because every night we'd just be getting into our stride over in Grove. That's all we had to do. Yeah. Go over to our friends to play, and they all had. She had so many children. There was one to suit all. And we play hopscotch. Yeah. With a bit of chalk, and it's great crack. Yeah. Hopscotch and rounders and play ball and laugh and joke and you know, they'd no money and we had all the money, but it didn't matter, we'd no mother. Yeah. So we'd go over there and we'd be having a bit of hilarity, and there'd be a phone call. There was no text in those days, and she wouldn't come over. Could I speak to Gertie, Heiner or Mary? Or tell them we're having the rosary. They need to come back to have their bath and the rosary, and they need to get back now. And there was no way you'd disobey, Miss Friends. You had to trottle home, no matter how much you were enduring yourself. And you had to have your bath, say the rosary, get into the freezing cold bed, because the sheets used to come back from the laundry. Starched within an inch of the... I used to dread the clean sheet, and she was cleanliness. The curtains came down every week. Really? The dresser was scrubbed every week. Cleanliness was next to godliness in her book. And when we were getting a new maid, anything like the carry-on that went on. But anyway, and that was very frequent. They didn't stay because of mother. But anyway, the thing is that then we all went to bed, and the rule was early to bed, early to rise.
Makes them healthy, wealthy.
And by God, nobody ever would knock at a door after 6 o'clock. We were all...
You're in bed by 6?
No. We were in bed by 9 o'clock. Yeah. Everybody in the household was in bed asleep at 9 o'clock. The Kyo's were known for that. Early, and
we'd be wide awake already, first
we'd
thing.
Be up like a lark.
We got the whole day ahead of us. Do you think that Frenchie saw your father's success as, was that a sign of hers too? That
no,
did she take
humble.
any? Oh, she was. She
no, she was humble.
She didn't see that as a reflection of hers.
More, but, you know, but she admired him so much, and it was a great thing to be working for a man who was so successful. I'm sure that gave her some pride. Yeah. And she had great clout with the bank. The banks were.
Oh, when because she represented him at the bank.
Oh yes, and she let them know it.
Oh yeah.
She said, I ordered checkbooks and a statement, and they didn't come. Yeah. And the bank manager was shivering and shaking because he had a lot of money there, and he had clout, and they dreaded her coming. And if there was a mistake made in a bill, I wouldn't like to bring them in all of that. And everybody did. And then she went up to the market on her bicycle and she had to pay. Was
it unusual for a woman to be up there?
Well, I don't know what the other men did, but she was the secretary. And she paid, he sold the cattle and all the men came in. And there was great hilarity around them, you know. They'd always say, I'm in now to get me check. And she'd be talking now, how many cattle, I have it all down here now, how many cattle you have to get paid for and all that. And you wouldn't, a penny wouldn't go stray. She paid them all their money. And then she, well, I don't know, the one story, and I'm going to bed then, is that there was a man, he went off, Gertie took him off to the Canary. He didn't really want to go to the Canary. He liked the west of Ireland. He was real Irish. Never liked going abroad. But she thought she'd give him a twirl and see how it worked. It wasn't great, but she took him. And Miss French was in charge. And she got, word went around that there was a butcher that we supplied meat to out in Stillorgan. And he wasn't doing well. Yeah. He was going bad. And she got into her car. He was away after all. There was no text. There was no way of contact. And she went out there and she said, I'm Mr. Keogh's secretary. And she said, I have it here that you owe us so many £1,000, like for the cattle. And of course she got in first and she got paid. Yeah. And when he came back, instead of applauding her, yeah, she told me the story. She was horrible. She said, I'm after saving. I got the cheque from your man. He's going bust. Oh, he shouldn't have gone out there now. Yeah. Like, that looks bad, as if I need the money. Or, yeah, you know, he's a very proud man, as if I was going bust, you know. Instead of clapping her on the back for getting it. So she didn't get any thanks there. But anyway, that's the way it was. Huh. And then Gertie and Ina were very good to her too. Like Ina, in fairness, used to take her down to Kelly's and Rosslare for a bit of a holiday.
Did they get on well?
As a perk. Yeah. Well,
like you really didn't get on with her, did you?
She got on better with Ina. But Gertie and me, you see, she knew we were softies. And she could, you know, she could hit us. She couldn't hit Ina. Ina was tough and she knew that. You see, Ina was tough. And she wouldn't. There are people who will prey on people that are soft. And Gertie and I are much softer than Ina. And Raymond was soft. And she lashed into us, do you understand? But she wouldn't lash into Ina.
She knew she couldn't get away with it.
Not so much with Ina. But Ina used to take her down there. And Gertie took her to Medjugorje and various places, or Lourdes or something, and everything. But sure, I couldn't go anywhere because I was stuck all the time. But, you know, and she took Mother, in fairness. She took anyone to take my mother up to a B&B. She used to go to Galway on the holidays, and one year she decided to take my mother up. I think she regretted it. But she told the woman in the house, this is my boss's wife now, and she's not so well, and you just make excuses, and, you know, and that. But she did that. Yeah, you know, she had moments like that, and that. But, you know, everything had to be, cleanliness was definitely, there was no...
Would she be there now at Christmas and everything, on holidays, or no, not so much, at social events?
She just went, no, she'd be there for most of the things, but she went on her holidays every year to Galway. That's what she liked, for a fortnight, I think, you know, and no, we didn't have any social events. They were not on the agenda. There was no parties or anything like that.
But when you went to...
Till we got to Carryburn,
yeah.
But she left then.
Oh,
that time she was in.
Yeah, you were all 20s, in your 20s at that point. Oh, I see.
Oh, thank God she didn't come then. Oh, no, that would have been a disaster. And then we had parties. Ina, in fairness, give credit where credit is due. She said, we have this big house, let's have some parties. She was a great one for organising, and we had these parties. You know, and that, but, it was, you know, it was, but the beginning years were very tough because we were young, and when you're young without a mother to direct you or anything, you know what I mean? We'd no direction, and we were minding her, she wasn't minding us, so we had to grow up very quickly and try and, that's why he sent us away to school, because he thought it was a terrible existence, having us young girls there with her. And, you know, you'd come home from school and there'd be nothing to eat. She'd be in bed smoking cigarettes. All of that was very bad. And when somebody would say you wanted at the parlour, that was the way they did it in Cabra. You'd get a call to say you wanted in the parlour. It meant that you had a visitor. And I was always hoping it wouldn't be my mother, because she'd be in there talking to herself, and there'd be other mothers in there. I'd die of embarrassment, you know. Like, you just die. She didn't come too often, thank God. Miss French appeared in odd time. My father hadn't time to come that much. But he came just before I did my leaving. Somebody said, you better go up, she's doing the last exam. And I was like, he said, you look like something out of Belgium. I was that thin. And he said, what are you worrying about? But I said, I've got to get this exam. It's a big exam. This is my most important exam. But he said, I don't care if you never get it. I just want you to get the education I didn't get. And I said, you know, but pride is there. You need, you know, you don't want to let the side down. I was working night and day to try and get the blasted thing, which I did get. But, you know, she'd come and bring some sweets and that. But she wasn't, you know, she wasn't a motherly mother. It was all about keeping you clean, clean, clean. Going to Mass and sending me to Mass with my mother, which was outrageous. My mother should have watched it on television or on the radio, because she wasn't able to go to Mass. And sending a young person like me to bring her to Mass, and she talking to herself and screaming and everything. So it was a nightmare going to Mass. A nightmare. But she didn't, clever and all as she was, she thought that was what you had to do. You know, she played it by the rules.
She was only young herself. I mean, she
Well,
like
yeah,
you said, she was 17 or 18 when she came
well,
up.
By the time
She had no life herself.
No, she hadn't really, no, she didn't really. I suppose she didn't really know that you can bend the rules.
Did she ever talk about her youth? I mean, it must have been tough if you were sent up to Dublin at 17 or 18.
Well, no, she came of her own free will, because she was working for a solicitor down there and he wasn't treating her right or something. And she took the ad in the paper and she came up. And then when she told everybody the scenario, they said, "You're mad, get out of there quick, because Mammy wasn't well." "Oh, no, you shouldn't stay. You're mad to stay there." But she stayed there. She wanted to get into the civil service. But, I mean,
Wasn't she very bright?
Well, she was very bright.
She didn't take the civil service exam?
I don't know what happened. But in the heel of the hunt, she didn't have enough money to pay for things. And this was all, as they called it in those days, all found.
All found?
All found meant you got your food and your board. And this was a big thing to her. And she was within a family, which I suppose was nice to a certain extent. And then she admired Daddy so much and knew he had so much drive and everything. And the whole thing suited her. And, you know, she was well treated. I mean, she was the boss. She was the type that liked to be the boss. And she could be the boss because Mammy was willing for anybody to be the boss.
She wasn't going to question her on anything.
Oh, no, she didn't. No. But she was always very respectful. She would say to the new maid, I'd hear her because I was there in the kitchen with her. We always got new salts and peppers and new butter dishes and everything for the maid coming. And then they all and clean new tablecloths, and everything was spick and span. And the lady wouldn't be there at jig time when all that would disappear. But we started off on the right note. She was very grand. She knew how to cook, and she was always a jolly mean cook now. And the table would be set right, her manners and all that, P's and Q's and all that. And this woman would come, and then she would say, I'd hear her saying to them, "Now you'll be in charge of everything really here." There's only a 2 up, 2 down, like, you know what I mean? I'd seen it myself in a minute, you know. But anyway, lino on the floor, that was awful getting that in the morning.
Yeah, lino's not great.
Very cold, and the hot, the jars, those Delft jars, which were, when you got into bed,
they were the hot water bottles.
They burnt the feet off you. Then they got cold.
Because they weren't rubber.
So you gave them a kick
to get them down the end of the
they
Wouldn't they break?
No. What kind of stone they were made of? But they wouldn't. Yeah. But they'd bang onto the line.
Oh yeah, wake the whole house.
And from beginning to end, they were a total. Yeah. You were never happy with them. They were freezing.
That was genius when someone came out with the rubber ones. Yeah.
Anyway, she'd say, I'd hear her saying to the new unfortunate coming to work for it, she'd say, "Now, Mrs. Keogh is the lady of the house, but you know."
Having said that,
she won't be doing anything.
But she never got ahead of herself, thinking like, "Oh, I'm really the head of the house." It never got. So that was
no. She was in fairness, she was very respectful and was always very respectful to Mammy. Yeah. You know, though, like she said, she just won't be doing anything. Yeah. So you're in charge of all operations here till I come home. Yeah. She'd come home.
And Simon said, I was the CEO, but I was the chief operations officer, and I was getting paid less than the porter.
Yeah. Well, that's
he was funny. You'll do everything, and we won't really pay you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he told me one day. He said, Shane said, "Oh no, ask Simon. He's the operations manager." But I didn't realise covered almost everything that was in the. But anyway, that was Miss French. So, you know, but she could. Her worst failing was she was extremely sarcastic. She was sarcastic, and sarcasm is considered the lowest form of it. She wouldn't have had much sense of humour, but she liked Mrs. Bouquet though. But
did she really? I couldn't see her enjoying that.
That was the one programme she really liked. She loved the snobbery of it. And she was a bit like that herself. But we were the Kyo's, and the Kyo's were a cup above buttermilk, according to her, on the street. And we were very special.
Who did Dad say that about our house to? Someone who was coming to the house?
Here. Oh, he said, you'll know it. It's the best house on the street.
Fine. Who was that to? Do you remember?
Oh no, well, some workman or somebody who's delivering something.
Yeah.
And they said, "Where? How will I know where it is?" And I heard him saying, "Oh, you'll have no difficulty there. It's by far the finest house."
Did you laugh your head off?
Say any.
Yeah.
Oh, like he said to Carol's wife, "You're looking bloody well tonight, but I'd hate to have you at home." I mean, he would say whatever. You know, it wasn't just me. He would say it to anybody. They said what they thought. Yeah. You know. As Frank said to me one night, that lady you have working for you, Mary. Yeah. What's her name, Mary? She's very severe, isn't she? She was told not to give out any books when we were on holiday. And by God, you wouldn't get a book. She said, that's it. No books.
No books for you.
I was told, no books. Oh, reliable to the end. Oh, reliable, terribly reliable. Daddy knew that. That's what he liked her. You know, and all that. And... she was a bloody good cook. She used to help me with the dinner parties. Oh, and you could rely on the food to come in. And it would take a while, but it would be perfect. Oh, yes, perfect. She was a perfectionist. Oh, she worked for the Phillipses of Glenealy and the other people, the McGraths. Oh, my God. And I said, you know, we're not these people. We're not on that echelon at all. But she was happy to come. I think she quite liked me. And we got on quite well. But she could be, in latter years then, she got very... I got a terrible load there.